What do you prefer? You do both, you know, you've done stage, you've done screen, you've done television. Do you prefer more voiceover work?
I prefer working. Whatever the genre. As long as the check clears.
That's the best answer.
And you know, listen, praise God that my training has allowed me to be able to switch genres comfortably. You know, they're not always easy transitions to make, but that's what I trained for. Because sometimes, you know, if you're doing like an animated series, many times we'll have a multiple mic situation. Sometimes it may be in a circular situation if the booth is big enough, if it can accommodate that. So there may be a time when I can actually look at you and play to you. But many times what happens is the person who I'm talking to is next to me. And, you know, you can even hear, if I turn my head, there's a difference in, here's the sweet spot. If I turn my head, you have a different hearing experience. Well, the engineer hears that even more acutely. So it doesn't matter how intense it is, and if I want to stay in the sweet spot, even if I look at this person next to me, you got to kind of stay within that parameter. That's very different than if I'm acting with you and I can turn to you.
Right.
I don't have to worry about that. But you do have to be concerned about that when you, so as I'm saying, you know, sometimes you have to play it straight out and they're right next to you. That's very different. I remember having to do this thing, bass violin, we love you. Anyway, you know, and then I got to fix the, at that time it was a pinball machine. It was a phenomenal experience because, I mean, I watched Fred Rogers as a kid. When I was growing up at that time, it wasn't necessarily always a question of whether you liked the TV show or not, because there wasn't that much offered, you know. I do remember thinking that Mr. Rogers, for me, before I worked with him, well, I mean, I was growner than the target audience by the time I had really discovered him. When I met him and discovered, he was a Presbyterian minister. His ministry was geared to children between, you know, like 4 and 6, or 4 and 8, something like that. His ministry was to children. And if you watch him, it begins to make an incredible amount of sense because he never talked down to his audience, but it was always, you know, very simple. I mean, you know, you knew he wasn't talking to, you know, 20-somethings, and conceptually, when you look at Goliath as an example of our leader, the father of our clan, our family, if you look at his sense of values, how he felt about protecting his family, looking after his family, and his job as protector of this new society that he's also a part of, now that the clan has been moved to New York. His sense of looking after everyone and making sure that everyone was taken care of. His sense of, you know, because he's not human and he's different. There's one of my favorite lines is, we are not like the humans. You know, we have a different set of values. We have that sense